So, the final episode of the series, at least for the time being, Doogie Kamealoha M.D. has wrapped up, and we got a pretty nice setup last week, and that was the first episode where I felt like I really had something to look forward to, as now Lahela has a pretty important life choice to make. So, of course, I'm mainly talking about did that promise pay off, did I like the episode, and what do we think, and also I'll reflect on the season as a whole. So yeah, let's go into it. Hi fellow Disney Plus watchers, this is Thoughts After Disney Plus Watch, and I'm glad you're watching the channel that's all about Disney Plus movies and TV shows. So just a fair warning here before we start, I do want to discuss spoilers to really do this episode justice, so you can press that watch later button if you haven't seen it yet. Still here? Let's do it. Oh, and by the way, I recently opened a merchandise store for the people who might be interested, and there's a one-time special offer. You can get sweaters, t-shirts, mugs, and more now for 15% off. This offer only lasts for 9 days, so take your chance if the stuff you're seeing here interests you at all. Now, let's get back on topic right away. This episode is all about Lahela trying to sell to her parents that it is a good idea for her to go to Australia for 2 months, because Walter has been enlisted to go and do a kind of surf tour competition or something. He has the chance to get enlisted there full-time, and Lahela wants to be there for him when that might happen. And I remember a viewer commented last week, and I quote, "I think it'll be pretty good because now she has to choose between being away from her family and being away from Walter." And yes, that is kind of what the dilemma of the story is, although it's more about Lahela's passion for her work versus going on the trip with Walter, which is not the dilemma at hand when the episode starts, because we saw last week that she applied for working as a medic on the Australian surf tour, so the 2 months that she would have been excused from her job at the hospital, she would have also be working in her field of passion, if you will, you know. But then the dynamic starts to change when she has an argument with her mother and decides to quit her job to make room for the possibility to tag along with Walter for the summer. And when this happened, I thought, oh cool, things are heating up between them, between Lahela and her mother, but wasn't this kind of a missed opportunity in hindsight? Because, you know, my big problem with the finale here, and it's kind of a thing I'm disappointed in general in the show, is how little action there is, and how much characters are talking about their doubts and problems in a way too cool-headed and rational. And when I say action, I don't mean like action, like explosions and fights and, you know, action. No, I'm not talking about that kind of action. But situations are never allowed to get heated or ugly, because characters have already laid out their feelings in great detail before that is ever allowed to happen. Characters don't act, they talk it out. Seriously, why not have Lahela leave the island, only for the family to stop her at the last second, giving her one last choice: go with Walter for the 2 months, have fun, but be fired from your job and never come home, or something drastic like that. I'm not someone that just demands a story to go a certain way, but this show lacks reactive characters and escalating conflicts. It's just all talking. By the way, when Lahela said to her mom, "This isn't about Walter, I want to see the world, I lived my whole life on the island, I want new experiences," I just... Okay, be warned, most of you are gonna think I'm totally overreacting, but I really think this is the most unearned line of dialogue in the whole show. If she would have uttered those words in an act of defense, to throw anything at her mother to try and convince her to let her go, then it would be just another excuse that showed how much Lahela was struggling to make it happen. You know, something like, I want to see the world. I want new experience, right, Mom? Is that what you want to hear? But no, the way she plays this is completely genuine, and this has never been established throughout the show, that you wanted to leave the island, see the world, all that. That has never been established. I did really enjoy Benny's struggle to let go of his uncle being at the party. You know, the dialogue is once again operating at minimal effort when he's talking to his son about, "If I take his role in the family, he seems gone. I'm not ready to say goodbye." It's really bad dialogue once again, because we get it. We're already aware that you were trying to protect your sacred family tradition, even if that meant breaking your uncle that's still weak and sick out of the hospital. So no, the dialogue is once again on the weak side, but I did really appreciate what this meant for Lahela later on in the episode, as she starts to realize that her choice of staying shouldn't affect Walter in any way. After her mother tells her the story about her cats and Uncle John, that you can't lock someone up or keep them from being where they belong, and just that look from Lahela to Walter was enough to understand, my choice can't keep him here. Why exactly she doesn't go with him for those 2 months, I don't know, because in the end she got Clara's blessing, but okay. And by the way, one other thing that I really thought was pretty weird was how we are now supposed to believe Stephanie is gonna stop trying to get close to Kai, because Brian Patrick, sneaky little rascal that he is, now convinced her that he doesn't deserve him, and it's played as such a sincere moment. I don't even know what I think about this. It was so weird. Overall, if we're talking about the whole season in its entirety, then I guess I'm pretty much in the middle and not on either side of a coin. I definitely do not hate it. I definitely wouldn't rewatch any part of the show ever again, but it's a pretty decent thing to pass the time with. But you know, the biggest flaw of Doogie Kamealoha in general, I think, is that whenever a character is dealing with something, the first thing they do is not something irresponsible, something stupid, something that evokes conflict, something that embarrasses someone else. No, the first thing they do is they go and talk about it. They just go and talk. And that kind of lazy writing is really disappointing. But you know, I enjoyed the family dynamic. I think Brian Patrick is genuinely funny. Dr. Lee is a good comic relief character too. And despite everything, Peyton Elizabeth Lee as Lahela is a likable protagonist. I like her. The exotic setting helps set this show apart from other shows. There's just enough to like here that I don't mind watching this show. But yeah, the writing is way off. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. I'm curious, what did you think of this finale episode or the show in general? Be sure to let me know in the comment section. Don't forget, if you enjoy the idea of discussing Disney Plus content with us, that red button looks familiar, right? And if you're interested in thoughts on previous episodes, it's all in the description, or you can browse the channel page. Did you like this video? Then be sure to consider giving that a click. Thanks. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.